Yo guys, what is up? Moxsy in our video, and today we're talking about my top 5 most anticipated looter shooter like games of 2023. Now, a lot of the looter shooter games that were supposed to come out in 2022 ended up getting delayed to 2023. So we've got a pretty great list here, and I actually had to do some narrowing it down. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the number 1 spot because news just came out about it. And let's get right into it. Coming in at our number 5 spot is Remnant 2. Now, let's just say I was a little excited when this game was first announced.
Oh my freaking god, please be Revenant 2. It so is. Look at the models of the characters. Let's go!
There's a lot to be excited about with Remnant 2. If you've never played the Remnant games, it's bringing back its core gameplay, which is very Souls-like with guns. Enemies hit you as hard as you hit them. Bosses have complex mechanics / like move patterns that you need to learn and adjust to, and there's definitely skill-based dodging. It's got frantic melee and ranged combat, and one of the coolest things about the Remnant games are that your worlds and your playthroughs are dynamically generated, meaning that you may not fight the same bosses or explore the same areas in the same order or the same way that you do on your next playthrough. In addition to these playthroughs, there's going to be a new archetypical progression. There's expanded archetype systems that provide players with unique passive bonuses and stunning powers. They're looking to expand on all the good things that Remnant did in the first place, as well as the developer of this game, Gunfire Games, was purchased by Gearbox. Gearbox, the developers of Borderlands, this is their publishing side, is going to be backing this game, and with Gearbox backing it, I'm sure they've got more funding, as Gearbox recently got a ton of money from Embracer Group. So look forward to Remnant 2, and hopefully with Gearbox publishing it, more support post-launch and more content post-launch. I cannot wait for this game. Should be dropping to all consoles. Unfortunately, doesn't have a set release date, but from all of the gameplay that I've seen, this game is looking far along, so I'm hoping to see it towards the end of 2023. Coming into our number 4 spot is Arc Raiders. This is a multiplayer, free-to-play, action, third-person looter shooter game that was originally set to launch in 2022 but was delayed to 2023 to allow it to reach its fullest potential, quote from the devs. Now, Arc Raiders is made by Embark Studios, a studio that is made up of a lot of ex-DICE / Battlefield developers, and one of the big things that they seem to be emphasizing with this game is thinking on the fly, getting creative with your environment, getting creative with what the game gives you. There will be crafting of different weapons, of different gear. There will be different Arc Raiders that you can use and different gadgets that you can have on your Raiders, and you're teaming up to take down an alien invasion. And once again, they're really emphasizing kind of getting creative and thinking on the fly with how you're going to take down these aliens, killing them, and then using the parts that you get to make yourself more geared to take on harder enemies. Think a little bit more wave-based for this game. I'm looking forward to it. We do not have an exact release date, but given that it was seemingly on the way in 2022, I'm hoping to see it sometime in 2023 was what they have planned, and that is our number 4 spot. Coming into our number 3 spot is The Division Heartland. Now, Heartland is a branch off of the main Division games, Division 1 and 2, and is set to launch in 2023 for both last-gen and new-gen consoles as well as PC. Unlike the other games, this one is going to be free to play at launch. So expect, obviously, some cosmetic microtransactions and stuff like that. But the reason I'm excited for this game is, one, because I recently played The Division 2 and absolutely fell in love with it. And this is going to be kind of a newer spin on the Division games. First off, this game is set in the American Northwest as opposed to where Division 1 was set in New York, Division 2 was set in DC. This is going to be more of a role setting, and you're going to have 2 game modes in this game. The first is Storm Operations. It's a player versus environment mode, which can support a maximum of 45 players. In this mode, players must fend off against agents from rogue factions known as the Vultures while surviving a virus. The second mode, which I'm more interested in, is more of a PvE experience, which is kind of why I put it on this list of looter shooter games, where you're going to be completing missions and collecting gear. It's going to have the same kind of like rarities and gears and perks and classes as the Division games. So if you like the Division games, you'll probably like this. It was delayed originally from 2022, but hoping we see it soon in 2023. There is a closed beta sign-up that is going on right now that we'll leave a link to in the description. Coming in our number 2 spot is The First Descendant. Now, this is a free-to-play, third-person cooperative action RPG shooter featuring really nice graphics in Unreal Engine 5, strategic boss fights, 4-player co-op, gunplay, looting, and shooting. This game was very, very similar to Warframe. If you played Warframe or enjoyed it, from the characters, the way that you grind them and unlock them, to the way that you mod your characters, to the way that you progress them and prestige them, even down to the way that you mod your weapons, it was very, very Warframe-like. This game had a pretty large beta. I played a lot of it, and it was definitely not in a state that it should have been launched in, but the devs seem like they've taken a lot of the feedback to heart and plan on coming back after fixing a lot of the issues that players had with the game. Most noticeably, performance was definitely an issue. However, the core of this game is really strong, and I wouldn't have put 80 hours into it if it didn't have a good gameplay loop. This game is definitely grindy, but their progression is really rewarded. Players were making crazy boss melting builds, and there was genuine difficulty to this game, but difficulty that you could push past with enough hours. We're still yet to see what the monetization model of this game will be, as it is a free-to-play looter shooter. However, I'm really excited for this game, as I was genuinely addicted to it when it was in its beta access, and I'm looking forward to its full launch, hopefully in 2023. Before we get to our number one spot, a few honorable mentions. The first is to Destiny 2's Lightfall expansion. Destiny 2 is probably the most popular and most extensive looter shooter out there on the market right now, and they're adding another massive campaign. If you've played Destiny 2, you know how quality these campaigns can be. It's going to include a new raid, new exotics, new subclasses of darkness, and new enemies to fight against. It looks like it's bringing some cyberpunk aesthetics into Destiny, which really appealed to me, and I'll definitely be checking it out. Even though I'm not huge on Destiny, I always end up playing their expansions and enjoying them. Our next honorable mention is for the Duviri Paradox. Now, the Duviri Paradox is a massive expansion for Warframe that they've been teasing for years. It is looking like kind of a new age for Warframe, as it's set in a brand new arc, and Rebecca Ford, the creative director of the Duviri Paradox, said that it's a welcome departure for developers' digital extremes. It's completely different from anything we've ever designed in Warframe, from gameplay style to color palette and underlying themes. From the gameplay that they showed off of this, it looks like it's got some elements of roguelite, with some Groundhog Day style looping, where you're trying to figure out what the right decisions are, what to do, and every time that you die or make a wrong decision, you get sent back to the beginning, with obviously save points as you progress. It looks very interesting, as well as Warframe is expected, or hopefully getting some actual cross-save progression, which should bring a lot of players back to it. I'm looking forward to diving into the Duviri Paradox and the Warframe universe when this launches in 2023. Coming in at our number one spot is Redfall by Arcane Studios. Now, there hasn't been a ton of marketing for this game, but a brand new article came out today about it that actually caught my attention, as the developers made some references and comparisons to that of Borderlands, my favorite looter shooter of all time. Now, Redfall is developed by Arcane Studios. Arcane Studios is the developers for Dishonored, Prey, and Deathloop, all incredible games, and they're looking to bring their immersive worlds and storytelling into the world of Redfall. In this interview that dropped today with the developers for Redfall, they wanted to make a few things clear, and one of those big things is what kind of game this actually is. They said following the reveal, they saw a lot of comparisons with the Left 4 Dead games, which they said are great games, but not what this game is or what they're shooting for. They said it's totally understandable for somebody to come to that conclusion. There are 4 playable characters, you can play together cooperatively, and you're going against the undead. But in terms of the way that you play and experience Redfall, it's not like those games at all. Redfall is more like loading into Far Cry. However, the reason this game is on my looter shooter list is because of some of the other details that they have revealed about this game. Now, the devs who were talking in this article said that they were playing co-op Borderlands at the time of kind of developing this game and how they were thinking about making it. In this game, you pick one of 4 classes to play, and you were locked into that class. Similar to how Vault Hunters work, that is your class for your time on this game. Obviously, you can start a new playthrough with a different one, but that is your class, and you can progress that class through multiple ways. First off, There's different rarities of guns that you can get all the way up to legendary, as well as artifacts in the games. Now, these artifacts are called remnants, items that were close to the vampires as they turned, and you can use these remnants to give magical enhancements to your weapons. There's also items called gravelocks that can change abilities for your character, but these are much more rare. In regards to weapons, there's going to be a mix between civilian, military, and supernatural weapons, and your character and the progression that you're going to be playing seems very akin to like a Borderlands-esque game in that it's going to have a co-op focus, you can play solo, and you're going to have a various mix of different kind of weapons to use and ways to enchant them. Maybe I'm making too many comparisons to Borderlands. Maybe it won't be quite like I think. However, I'm really excited for this game, and this new article and new interview has only got me even more excited. Guys, that is the list of the top 5 looter shooter or looter shooter like games coming out in 2023. There were a few games that I didn't make it on this list because they don't have dates or they didn't quite fit the formula. Things like Witchfire, things like Synced, I'm looking forward to, but didn't make it quite in my top 5. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will catch y'all in the next one. Take care. Peace. I was putting in the